Hello researchers, I'm Jojo, and today I'm going to show you how to play Aquasphere. If you enjoy my videos, please remember to like and subscribe, and please leave a comment or ask questions below. In Aquasphere, players lead a research team consisting of an engineer and a scientist, which work in different areas. The engineer programs robots that the scientist uses to carry out lab actions around the board. The game lasts 4 rounds. The player with the most knowledge, also known as victory points, wins the game. To set up the game, assemble the 6 sectors of the station in any order. Put the headquarters nearby. Each player chooses a color and takes the pieces in that color and a player board. Randomly determine the first player. Shuffle the program cards and place 4 of them in a stack next to the headquarters. Place the programming tiles on the indicated spaces in the headquarters and place the topmost program card back in the box. The starting player places 1 bot on the first free space of the turn order track, followed by each player clockwise around the table. Each player places a counter on space 0 of the knowledge track and on the 0 space of the full circle counting track. Each player places 1 engineer on the starting space of the programming section. Make a general supply of crystals, octopods, and time markers. Also shuffle the stacks of face-down lab expansions and research cards. You also need the submarines of unused player colors in the general supply. Each player places the 14 bots and 6 submarines on the corresponding spaces of their player boards. Each player randomly takes 1 base lab. The letter on the tile indicates that player's starting sector. Take the 4 center tiles based on the player count. Place the tile with the 5 on it in the middle of the station, and then place the tiles 4, 3, and 2 in that order on top of it. Each will be placed in a random orientation. Take the setup overview card for the number of players. The upper block indicates which components populate each player's starting sector. The sector where each player starts will also have 1 octopod in the purple area, 1 crystal in the black area, the leftmost submarine from that player's player board in the space indicating 1 time marker, 1 scientist somewhere in the blue area, 4 time markers in the yellow area. For the next row, randomly select one of the remaining base slabs and place 2 octopods in the purple area and 1 crystal in the black area. The final sector gets 3 octopods in the purple area and 2 crystals in the black area. In 2-player games, in the blue area of the remaining 2 sectors, place a neutral submarine on the space depicting 1 time marker. In 3-player games, in the blue area of the remaining sector, place 1 neutral submarine on the space depicting 1 time marker. Also, place a neutral bot in the loading station of each of the 3 sectors that are not a starting sector for a player. Playing pieces of unused colors are considered neutral. Determine the color of the programming space in the white area of your starting sector and place 1 of your remaining bots on the corresponding symbol on your player board. Each player whose starting sector is adjacent to a 0 lock gets 3 time markers. Every other player gets 4. For each sector, draw 1 research card into the red area and 1 lab expansion into the green area. The game is played over 4 rounds. Beginning with the start player, take turns in the order indicated on the play order track until everyone has passed. Each round ends with an intermediate scoring, and then the next round begins. The first player to pass in the previous round becomes the next round's start player. After the 4th intermediate scoring, there is a final scoring. The player with the most knowledge points is the winner. On your turn, you may take 1 action, either with your engineer or with your scientist. Or, if you're finished taking actions this round, you may pass. Then it is the next player's turn. The engineer action is how you program new bots. The scientist can't do anything without a bot. They can only do actions with the bot's help. There are 2 ways to program a bot. Move your engineer in the headquarters to a space forward along the arrow. The tile where the engineer ends up indicates which bot you program. Once per round, you may pay 3 time markers to place a bot on any unoccupied program symbol. Place one of these time markers on the upper right corner of your player board to indicate you have used this once per round action. When programming a bot, always take the leftmost bot from your supply and place them on the appropriate programming symbol on your player board. You should always be taking the bot from your supply that is covering the lowest number of knowledge points. You can never have more than 2 programmed bots at the same time. If you program a third bot, you discard a previously programmed bot for 2 time markers. This option has 3 steps carried out in a specific order. Determine where you're going to carry out your action, place your bot, and then carry out the action. Optionally, move your scientists to another sector. Pay the number of time markers for each lock that they pass through. You may move as far as you can afford to move. Move the bot from the corresponding program symbol to the center control space of your scientist's sector. If that control space is occupied by another bot, move that bot to the loading station of that sector. If the bots in the loading station now exceed the permitted number for the player count, each player returns all but one bot from that loading dock to their supply. You may now carry out the action that corresponds to the bot used and the sector where your scientist is. Move your engineer token in the headquarters to the next free space of the pass order track. This is the end of your round. At any time, you may return an already programmed bot to your supply to get 2 time markers from the supply. Take the topmost lab expansion from the sector and place it in your base lab. If the lab shows 1 or 2 letters, you may place one bot on the control panel of each of the corresponding sectors, following the usual bot placement rules. Once you have taken 5 lab tiles, your lab is complete and you cannot take this action anymore. A completed lab is worth 5 knowledge points at the end of the game. At the start of the game, you can keep 2 research cards, 2 crystals, and 4 time markers in your possession. You can also only catch 2 octopods at a time. Labs increase your capacity for supplies and can help you catch more octopods. Take time markers from your sector. If you have the capacity, you may take all available time markers to fill your lab. If you don't get at least 2 time markers, take additional ones from the supply so that you received at least 2 time markers. You must have this space in your lab for any tokens that you take. Take as many crystals from the sector as you can accommodate in your personal supply. Leave excess crystals in the sector. When earning victory points, you must spend crystals to cross the red lines on the scoreboard. If you cannot pay a crystal, you may also return a programmed bot to your supply to cross the red line. If you don't pay a crystal or return a bot, you lose any points that you may have gained and stop at the red line. During the game and intermediate scoring, it's good to have a crystal or 2 on hand so you can maximize on your points. You do not need crystals during final scoring. Red lines are ignored during final scoring. You can catch as many octopods in this sector as indicated by your lab. You gain knowledge points exponentially for catching more octopods. Return the caught octopods to the general supply and gain your points. You may only have 1 submarine in each sector. If you don't already have a submarine in this sector, you take the leftmost submarine from your player board and place it in the next available submarine space in that sector. Pay as many time markers as depicted on the space. If you can't pay, you cannot take this action. Receive knowledge points equal to the light bulb in the current center tile. If you place all 6 subs, you'll get 5 bonus points during final scoring. Take the topmost research card from the sector and place it near your player board. You receive knowledge points equal to the light bulb in the current center tile. You may only take a research card if your lab can accommodate it. You may not discard research cards even if they have already served their purpose. Some research cards can be used any number of times. Some you can only activate once per game when you want to use it. Some can be used during intermediate scoring, and some are used immediately when you obtain them. The appendix gives an overview of the details of the research cards. The white action of the sector depicts a program symbol. Take the next bot from your supply and place it on the matching program symbol of your player board. If you already have a bot there, take 2 time tokens instead. When all players pass, there is an intermediate scoring phase before the next round begins. You get 1 time marker for every submarine you have deployed to the station. Return the time marker from the right of your board to the general supply if you chose the once per round option to program a robot with your spare time. If you have research cards with the intermediate scoring symbol, you may use them now. Add up the total of all knowledge points for each player before adjusting the counters on the score track. Remember, you must pay crystals or return programmed bots to cross a red line. There are 4 ways to score points: the majority of control spaces, the bots you have in play, crystals in your supply, and negative points from your leftover octopods. The player with the majority of control spaces with their bots gets 6 points. If 2 or more players tie for the most bots on control spaces, they each get 3 points. Determine the highest number in a column with no submarine that is not covered by a bot. You get that many points. The number of crystals in your supply is worth an exponential number of victory points. In each sector where your bot is in the control space, you lose a number of points depending on the number of leftover octopods in that sector. If you lose more points than you gain, you cannot fall back behind a red line. Draw 6 research cards from the pile and place 1 in each of the sectors. They may be placed on top of already existing cards. Draw 6 lab expansions from the pile and place 1 in each of the sectors. They also may be placed on top of already existing lab expansions. The topmost center tile indicates what additional components to place in each sector. For the time markers, remove any leftover time markers from the station, then place new ones according to the center tile. For the crystals, add them to already existing ones, if any. For the octopods, also add them to already existing octopods in each sector. In 2 or 3 player games, add a neutral submarine to the indicated sectors. If the sub can't go in that sector, because there is already a neutral sub there, place it in the next free space in clockwise order. Put the topmost center tile back in the box. Rearrange the tokens on the play order track so they match the pass order track. This is the new play order for the next round. Return the engineers from the pass order track to the starting space of the programming section. Rearrange the programming tiles as indicated by the topmost program card. After that, put the topmost program card back into the box so the next program card for the following round is visible. You are now ready for the next round. After the 4th intermediate scoring, proceed with final scoring. During the final scoring, you do not have to pay crystals to pass the red lines. You gain points for the following. Points depending on how many different letters are in your lab. 1 point for every time marker in your supply. 5 points if all 6 submarines are placed. 5 points if you completed your lab. The player with the most knowledge points wins the game. In the case of a tie, the player with more bots on control spaces wins. If still tied, the player with more crystals wins. Otherwise, there are multiple winners. Thanks for watching. Good luck. Hope you have fun.